I'm here to take a look at a neat little blaster that the website known as M416 Gel Blaster sent me, and they still need a new name for that. I mean, saying M416 Gel Blaster, that's not indicative to a place that sells dart blasters. It sounds like gel blasters only. But what we're taking a look at is the Lubon. It's a 3D printed, single shot, breech loading blaster that fires half darts exclusively. And they 3D print this, I guess, themselves, because it shows a 7-day wait time when you hit select and have them send it on your way after you've plopped down your $50. So there's kind of the whole rundown. $50, single shot, breech loading, and it has a very weird, you push forward with a pump grip, and it does have a little Picatinny rail underneath that you can attach, say, if you want to do a little foregrip. But it's very unusual to push away from yourself to then rear load and fire. Now, I'm going to note straight off the bat, they claim about 155 feet per second with this. Mine is not achieving it. And as you can clearly hear with the sound of it, it's not whatsoever. And I have a very easy to explain reason why. So we're going to go ahead and hit the problem with mine right away. If I go ahead and prime it, close it, and then seal it, listen in, immediately it vents off all of its air, and I can actually feel it coming out. So it puffs air. And the reason is that this plunger tube, which very cool plunger tube actually. It's like an anodized, like, battleship gray. So is the barrel. They're both alloy. The barrel is listed as having a 16mm tube in the listing. That means the barrel. And a anodized plunger tube. But the plunger tube, it is easy to rotate. That means the seal isn't very, there's not much friction there between the seal. And you might think, well, that's a good thing, isn't it? Not much friction. You want the piston, as we also call it, the plunger head. You want the plunger head. I don't know where that terminology actually started. I've been saying it for years now, but going into pneumatics and hydraulics, which is what my original background was, this would be a cylinder, and what we call the plunger tube would be, or plunger head would be the piston. Well, the piston seal just isn't that good, because I shouldn't be able to I can almost make the plunger tube spin in the mount. If it wasn't for the 3D printing holding it in place, I think I could get it to just freely spin. And that's where it's losing all of its air. So, how close to the claim of 155 feet per second have I gotten it? Well, it comes with their type of bamboo darts, and I have had 140.6 as a high point. So, it's falling short, but not necessarily by a lot. Which means if it did have a good seal, this would be a pretty solid performer. And yes, I could open this and fix that seal. But my policy is to review it as I got it. And this comes as a fully assembled blaster, therefore I review it as I got it. And with their included, so-called bamboo darts, it's their version of it, I was achieving between 125 to 140 feet per second. That variable range there of 15 psi is because of the seal issue. Sometimes it'll fire well, sometimes it won't. Not super consistent. And with the Adventure Force darts it loses all the way up to about 25 feet per second off of that mark with these Adventure Force darts that I'm putting through it currently. And you can hear it. It sounds like it's got a hollow or lacking sound. But reviewing it as it is, all that expose of the issue of the one that I've gotten, because I did see, after I got my testing all done and my opinion formed, I did go look at Gim's Mods. He's the only one that's got a featured review there on M416 on their website, and his was actually hitting quite well. I've seen him do a video recorded a chronograph session, and the section of his video that had that was showing it to have good performance. So it's just mine. That's disappointing, because all in all, my opinion is actually pretty positive on this thing. It has a great feel to it. The grip is very comfy. The trigger pull is good. It's a little firm, but it's actually not a bad thing. And aside from the occasional dart that just does not get good performance, everything about this is pretty nice. And I can't convey this through my camera, because unless I'm going to upgrade cameras and spend, a good $500 on a new one, it doesn't have, my camera's not going to pick this up. But their 3D printing quality is phenomenal. And I did not necessarily expect that from them. I actually, to be honest, I kind of didn't have high expectations. But their 3D printing, from what you can see, is, if my camera will pick that up, it is at least on par with Silver Fox. And Silver Fox is what I consider to be like the gold standard of 3D printing for the blaster world. And this is pretty much right on par with them. So that was a nice, pleasant surprise. I just think that either the seal is unlubed or it's the wrong seal, maybe. Which, either way, be an easy fix. But for $50, what do I think? Well, I like the design. It's a neat one where you push away from yourself and then fire, which I'll just deprime it. No more darts in the pocket. But the look is neat. I like they did make it in my color, so I am partial to that. But comfortable grip, easy to use, right or left-handed users, doesn't matter. And the fact that if you wanted to add a grip, you can, because they did include a Picatinny in the design. And if you were to get orange, this orange has a semi-translucent, semi-iridescent look to it that, again, my camera's not going to do it justice. But it just pops and kind of sparkles and has a sheen to it that's just really nice. And the black, they do a nice little knurled texture almost along a lot of this, and it's very nicely finished. Mine just has a performance issue in that it doesn't meet their claims. Now again, you'd say, well, with their bamboo darts, you're hitting up to 140, so that's close to their claim of 155. Yes, but I am going to critique it. Even though they sent this to me, I am going to critique it. Mine typically does not get that. I've had about a third of their bamboo darts will reach around 135 to 140. Most of them fall more into the 125, 130 range, which is noticeably below that 155 claim. And then the Adventure Force darts, worker darts, they're dropping down all the way to like 105, 110, 115, and that's well below their claim of 155. So something to keep in mind is that they assemble these after printing. That's why you have a 7-day wait time before shipping. And you might have a variable in at least the performance. Because otherwise the assembly of this looks great. It's just simply that performance. And I can tell it's in the plunger tube, plunger head, and seal. Right there, that interface that's where the area of problem is. So I will have to take this apart and take a look. And that's on me for a later date. But giving it to you as it came to me, it has neat design, fun to use for plinking, and I mean, you certainly could take this to a game as long as there's a 150 FPS cap or lower. All in all, my review ends with I like it. I like it actually quite a lot. Price tag's a little high at 150 for what I'm getting performance-wise, and it doesn't meet their claim. So that's some strikes against it. In that $50 for 150, even if it was getting 150 FPS, $50 for what is basically a breech loading big jolt, that's a lot. I admit that. That's a lot. Even though I like it, and I am partial because it is in my colors. That's not too shallow, I don't think. It's my colors. I like it. But I would say be wary of this one. In a bluntly honest review, be wary of it, because if it's inconsistent, I wouldn't want to be caught recommending it. The next one, though, that they sent, that I'm going to record here in just a second, is an absolute smash home run. So maybe check that one out. This one's still solid enough, and Gimsmods had good luck out of his. So take that as you will. Hope you've enjoyed this, and thanks for watching. This is the Lubon single shot 3D printed breech loading pistol from M416 Gel Blaster. I will leave a link, but I would put this as I'm not recommending it absolutely. It's neat, and if it's your thing, then go for it. But an asterisk is next to it, for sure. But hope you enjoyed this, and thanks for watching.